What's going on, everyone? Buckle up because we've got a story brewing in Cleveland that's got the entire football world talking. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single second of this drama. We're diving deep into a controversy that's putting one of the NFL's most talked about wide receivers under the microscope, and the fallout could change everything for the Cleveland Browns' future. This is the kind of story that separates the real fans from the casual observers. So let's break down exactly what's happening with Jeudy and why the entire city of Cleveland is ready to riot. The Cleveland Browns are in the middle of what could only be described as a complete organizational transformation. After years of quarterback carousel madness that would make your head spin, they finally landed their guy in Shedeur Sanders, the highly touted quarterback who was supposed to be the missing piece to this championship puzzle. But here's where things get absolutely wild. Instead of watching Sanders flourish with weapons around him like every rookie quarterback deserves, we're witnessing something that has fans, analysts, and even local media personalities questioning everything they thought they knew about this roster. Let me paint you the picture of what went down yesterday that has everyone losing their minds. Jeudy, the wide receiver the Browns traded a valuable second-round pick for and then backed up the Brinks truck to pay, had a conversation with the media that left more questions than answered. But it wasn't just what he said that has people furious. It was what happened on the field that's got Cleveland ready to run this man out of town on a rail. We're talking about a play so disastrous, so utterly inexcusable, that it's become the symbol of everything wrong with this offense right now. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let's establish some context here. When the Browns made the move to acquire Jeudy from the Denver Broncos, there were already warning signs flashing brighter than the Vegas Strip. People in Denver weren't exactly crying when he left. The national media, including guys like Steve Smith who know a thing or two about playing wide receiver in the NFL, were getting into it with him. There were whispers, rumors, and straight-up concerns about whether this guy was really a number one receiver or just someone who had been in the right place at the right time during his college days at Alabama. But Cleveland, being Cleveland, decided to roll the dice anyway. They gave up significant draft capital, opened up the checkbook, and brought Jeudy in with the expectation that he would be that go-to guy, that security blanket, that reliable target a young quarterback could lean on when things got tough. And for a brief moment, when he was catching passes from other quarterbacks earlier in the season, it looked like maybe, just maybe, they had made the right call. Jeudy was making plays, showing flashes of why he was once considered a first-round talent, and giving Browns fans hope that they finally had a legitimate weapon in their receiving corps. But then Shedeur Sanders became the starter, and something absolutely bizarre started happening. It's like Jeudy forgot how to play football. We're not talking about a slight drop in production, or a few games where the chemistry wasn't quite there yet. We're talking about fundamental failures that would make a high school coach bench a player. Routes that looked like they were run by someone who just learned what football was yesterday. Drops that defied the laws of physics and how easy they should have been. And worst of all, a lack of effort and intensity that suggested maybe, just maybe, there was something else going on beneath the surface.
Now let's talk about the play that has become the smoking gun in this entire controversy. Picture this. Shedeur Sanders drops back, goes through his progressions like the seasoned pro everyone knew he would become, and delivers an absolute dime to Jeudy. We're talking about the kind of pass that quarterbacks dream about throwing, perfectly placed, hitting the receiver right in the breadbasket, the kind of throw that should result in an automatic completion and maybe even a big gain after the catch. This wasn't some back shoulder fade in triple coverage or a contested catch where you need to be a superhuman athlete. This was a routine NFL throw that any professional wide receiver should catch 99 times out of 100, but here's where it gets absolutely insane. Jeudy not only doesn't catch the ball, but he lets a defender literally rip it out of his hands, not strip it after he secured it, not knock it away at the last second. With some incredible defensive play, the defender straight up took the ball away from Jeudy like he was a child, and the ball was a toy he wasn't supposed to have. The replay is painful to watch, and it's been circulating on social media like wildfire because people genuinely cannot believe what they're seeing. If you pause the footage at the right moment, You can see Jeudy has both hands on the football, and then through what can only be described as a complete lack of grip strength, determination, or will to compete, he just lets it go. The immediate reaction from Browns fans was a mixture of disbelief, anger, and that special kind of frustration that only comes from watching your team snatch defeat from the jaws of victory yet again.
But it was the reaction from the local Cleveland media that really turned this into a full-blown controversy. These are people who cover the team every single day, who have access to practices, who know the locker room dynamics, and who generally try to be fair and balanced in their coverage. And they absolutely went off on Jeudy in a way that made it clear this wasn't just about one bad play. The conversation on 92.3 The Fan, one of Cleveland's most popular sports radio stations, was particularly damning. The hosts were not holding back, and what they said spoke to a frustration that's been building for weeks. One of them made a point that cut right to the heart of the matter. He said, if this was Jamari Thrash, a fifth-round pick who's barely seen the field, and he got the ball taken away, you'd understand it. Young player still learning the ropes. Mistakes happen. But this isn't some practice squad guy trying to make a name for himself. This is Jeudy, the receiver they traded significant assets for. The guy they're paying millions of dollars to be a leader and a playmaker. The host continued, bringing up all the red flags that existed before Jeudy even arrived in Cleveland. The trash talk from people in Denver when he left, suggesting they were happy to see him go. The incidents with national media members who questioned his commitment and competitiveness. And now, here in Cleveland, we're seeing all those concerns validated in real time. The host posed a question that echoed what every Browns fan was thinking. Do you really think a legitimate #1 wide receiver lets that happen? Do you think Jeremiah Smith, the Ohio State phenom, who's projected to be a top pick in the next draft, would let somebody just take the ball away from him like that? The answer, of course, is absolutely not. Elite wide receivers have what people in football circles call strong hand, but it's about more than just physical grip strength. It's about desire, about wanting the ball more than the defender wants to take it away, about having the competitive fire that separates the great ones from the guys who are just collecting paychecks. You look around the league at the truly elite receivers, the guys who command double teams and game plans built around stopping them, and you know with absolute certainty that they're not letting anyone take a ball away from them in that situation. They'd fight for it, they'd use their body, they'd do whatever it takes to secure that catch. The really damning part of the radio conversation came when one of the hosts pointed out that this was a perfectly thrown ball by Shedeur Sanders. There was no excuse, no way to blame the quarterback or the play call, or the weather, or any of the million other factors that can contribute to an incomplete pass. Sanders did his job at an elite level. He put the ball exactly where it needed to be. All Jeudy had to do was catch it and make a play. You're the wide receiver. You're the veteran with years of NFL experience. He's the rookie trying to prove he belongs. You need to make the play. Stop blaming everything else. Stop looking for excuses that don't exist. Just do your job. But perhaps the most viral reaction to this entire situation came from an unlikely source. A passionate Browns fan and former player who goes by GPM on social media. This guy has become something of a folk hero among Cleveland fans for his unfiltered, brutally honest takes on the team, and he did not hold back when discussing the Jeudy situation. In a rant that was equal parts hilarious and scathing, he called out all the people who were trying to blame Shedeur Sanders for the incompletion. People who clearly never played football at a high level and don't understand what they're watching. He made a point that resonated with anyone who's ever stepped on a football field. He talked about how it drives him crazy to see people who've never played the sport trying to analyze plays and assign blame when they don't have the first clue what they're talking about. This was a perfect throw, a ball that should have been caught. Period. There's no debate, no room for interpretation, no alternative facts. Jeudy got his hands on the ball and failed to secure it. And trying to spin that into somehow being the quarterback's fault is either dishonest or delusional. The really interesting part of his rant was when he brought up his own playing experience. He talked about being a defensive back and how he would have loved to go up against a receiver like Jeudy because he knows he would have picked that offense apart. There's nothing a defensive player loves more than facing a receiver who doesn't have the heart, the hands, or the hunger to win those 50. It's like Christmas morning for a cornerback or safety, because they know they can be aggressive, they can play physical, and the receiver probably isn't going to outcompete them for the ball. Now, while all this drama is unfolding with Jeudy, There's another storyline developing that gives us some insight into what the Browns organization is thinking about their future. Jimmy Haslam, the team owner, is making it his mission to sign more offensive weapons, specifically wide receivers. Just recently, the team made moves to secure players on their 53-man roster, including Jamari Thrash, a fifth-round pick from the 2024 draft, who's shown some promise in limited action this season. Thrash has appeared in 9 games and recorded 10 receptions for 180 yards, which might not sound like much, but it represents potential, the possibility that maybe this kid could develop into something special with more opportunities. The fact that the Browns are actively working to add more receiving talent tells you everything you need to know about how they view their current situation. They know they need help. They know that asking Shedeur Sanders to succeed with the weapons he has right now is like asking someone to build a house with a hammer and some duct tape. It's not enough, not even close. And while Jeudy was supposed to be the answer, the reliable veteran who would help ease the transition for a rookie quarterback, he's instead become part of the problem. This brings us to one of the most heated debates currently raging among Browns fans and NFL analysts. With Cleveland locked and loaded with draft picks, what should they do in the upcoming draft? Some people are already suggesting they should take another quarterback, essentially giving up on Shedeur Sanders before he's even had a fair chance to prove what he can do. But that line of thinking is absolutely insane when you really break it down. Sanders has already shown he's the guy. He's shown he can make the throws, read defenses, handle pressure, and do all the things you need your franchise quarterback to do. The problem isn't the quarterback. The problem is everything around him. The offensive line needs help to give him time to throw. The receiving core needs legitimate playmakers who can get open and catch the ball when it comes their way. The offensive weapons overall need an upgrade to give Sanders the tools he needs to succeed. It really is that simple. Shedeur Sanders has proven he's the guy Cleveland has been waiting for, the quarterback who can finally break the curse and lead this team to sustained success. But you can't just throw him out there and expect him to overcome bad offensive line play, unreliable receivers, and a lack of support around him. The smart move, the obvious move, is to use those draft picks to build around Sanders. Go get some offensive linemen who can actually protect the quarterback. Draft some wide receivers who have strong hands, run crisp routes, and have the competitive fire to win battles for the ball. Add some offensive weapons that can create mismatches and give Sanders options when he drops back pass. Set him up for success instead of setting him up for failure and then wondering why things didn't work out. It's not rocket science. It's basic roster construction that successful NFL teams have been doing for decades. Looking at the current state of the Browns' offense, the needs are glaring and obvious. The offensive line has been inconsistent at best, leaving Sanders running for his life on too many plays. The receiving core, beyond the disappointing performance of Jeudy, lacks the depth and talent you see on playoff teams. There's no true number 1 receiver who can take over games, no slot receiver who's a reliable third-down option, no deep threat who forces defenses to respect the entire field. It's a collection of guys who might be decent complementary pieces on a stacked roster, but they're being asked to be more than they are, and the results speak for themselves. And then there's Jeudy, who somehow looks like a completely different player depending on who's throwing him the ball. When he was catching passes from other quarterbacks earlier in the season, he looked competent, maybe even good at times. He was making contested catches, showing some of the athleticism and route-running ability that made him a first-round pick coming out of Alabama. But the moment Shedeur Sanders became the starter, it's like someone flipped a switch and Jeudy forgot how to play his position. Routes that should be automatic look sloppy, catches that should be routine turn into drops, effort that should be consistent becomes sporadic at best. This has led to speculation and theories about what's really going on. Some people think it's just a coincidence that Jeudy is going through a rough patch that happens to coincide with Sanders taking over as the starter. Others believe there might be chemistry issues, that maybe the timing between Sanders and Jeudy just isn't there yet and needs more work. But there's a growing contingent of fans and observers who think something else might be at play, that perhaps Jeudy isn't fully invested in making this work with a rookie quarterback, that maybe he's frustrated with the losing and has mentally checked out, or that there could even be some personal issues we don't know about affecting his performance. Whatever the reason, the results are undeniable. Jeudy has been, to put it bluntly, terrible when playing with Sanders. And that play where he let the defender rip the ball away has become the defining image of this problem. It's the kind of play that gets replayed endlessly on social media, that becomes a meme, that defines a player's legacy if they're not careful. For Jeudy, it's a moment that crystallizes all the concerns people have had about him, all the doubts about whether he has what it takes to be a true number one receiver in the NFL. The Cleveland media, which is usually pretty forgiving of players who are at least trying and showing effort, has turned on Jeudy in a significant way. These are people who've covered some truly awful Browns teams over the years, who've seen plenty of bad plays and disappointing performances, and even they're saying enough is enough with Jerry Jeudy. The fact that multiple radio shows, podcasts, and media members are all saying essentially the same thing, that Jeudy isn't living up to expectations and needs to be better, tells you this isn't just about one bad play or one bad game. It's about a pattern of behavior and performance that's become impossible to ignore. The really frustrating part for Browns fans is that this was supposed to be different. After years of failed experiments at wide receiver, after watching other teams have reliable playmakers while Cleveland struggled to field a competent receiving core, Jeudy was supposed to be the guy who changed all that. He had the pedigree, the draft capital invested in him, the physical tools, and the contract that suggested the team believed in him. And for it to fall apart this spectacularly, this quickly, with a rookie quarterback who desperately needs someone to step up and be a leader, makes it all the more painful. But here's where things get interesting from a front office perspective. The Browns have options, lots of them. Those draft picks everyone keeps talking about represent opportunities to reshape this roster in a significant way. They could go heavy on offensive line in the early rounds, securing the protection Sanders needs to operate effectively. They could target wide receivers throughout the draft, building depth and competition at the position. They could address other areas of need on defense or special teams. The possibilities are virtually endless, and how they navigate this offseason could determine whether Sanders becomes the franchise quarterback everyone hopes he can be, or becomes another cautionary tale about a talented player who never got the support he needed. The key is not panicking and drafting another quarterback. That would be the worst possible move, the kind of decision that sets franchises back years and creates a cycle of dysfunction that's hard to escape. Sanders has shown enough in his limited action to warrant building around him. The throws are there. The decision-making is there. The leadership qualities are there. What's not there is the supporting cast that every successful quarterback in NFL history has had. You can't name a single Super Bowl winning quarterback who didn't have good players around him. It doesn't exist. Even the all-time greats needed help, and Sanders deserves that same opportunity. As we look ahead to the final games of this season, there are still opportunities for Jerry Jeudy to salvage his reputation in Cleveland. 3 weeks might not sound like much, but in the NFL, 3 weeks is enough time for a player to completely change the narrative surrounding them. If Jeudy goes out and plays like the receiver the Browns thought they were getting, if he makes the tough catches, wins the contested balls, and shows that competitive fire that's been missing, then maybe, just maybe, people will forget about that play where he let the defender rip the ball away. But if he continues to struggle, if the drops and the lack of effort persist, then his time in Cleveland might be coming to an end sooner rather than later. The broader implications of this situation extend beyond just one player or one team. This is a story about expectations versus reality, about the importance of mental approach and effort in professional sports, and about how quickly things can fall apart when key players don't hold up their end of the bargain. Jerry Jeudy came to Cleveland with a reputation to rebuild after his time in Denver ended unceremoniously. This was his chance to prove the doubters wrong, to show he could be a number one receiver on a team with playoff aspirations. Instead, he's reinforced all the negative stereotypes and concerns that followed him from his previous stop. For Shedeur Sanders, this is an unfortunate lesson about the realities of playing quarterback in the NFL. You can do everything right, make all the correct reads, deliver perfect passes, show leadership and poise beyond your years, and still watch everything fall apart, because the guys around you don't execute. It's a harsh reality, but it's one that every great quarterback has had to navigate at some point in their career. The difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't often comes down to how they respond to these challenges, how they handle adversity, and whether they can elevate the players around them even when those players aren't performing at an acceptable level. The Cleveland Browns organization finds itself at a crossroads. They have their quarterback of the future in Shedeur Sanders. They have draft capital to build around him. They have an ownership group that, for all its faults, has shown a willingness to spend money and invest in winning. What they don't have is time to waste. The window for building a contender is always smaller than people think, and every year spent spinning wheels and not making progress is a year wasted. The Jerry Jeudy situation, as frustrating as it is, provides clarity about what needs to happen. They need players who are going to compete, who are going to fight for every ball, who are going to give maximum effort on every single play.